Imagine stepping onto a plane and realizing that almost everything you thought you knew about flying is only half the story. Airlines are experts at keeping little secrets, secrets that can make your trip easier, safer, and more comfortable, especially if you are a senior traveler. Today, I'm going to share 12 travel tips that will change the way you fly forever. Some will save you money, some will protect your health, and one will even show you the single best seat on the plane for the smoothest ride. And here's the thing, you've probably never heard these before because airlines don't exactly shout them from the rooftops. Before we get started, I want to ask you something. Type 1 in the comments if you love flying, and type 0 if you would rather stay on the ground. This helps me know who I'm talking to, and it is always interesting to see how many of us are in Team Love It versus Team No Thanks. And welcome to Travel Made Simple for Seniors. If you're over 60 and want travel to feel less stressful and a whole lot smoother, subscribe right now. Every week we bring you practical, senior-friendly travel tips that airlines and airports never bother to explain, but that can make your journeys 100 times easier. So let's start with the first secret, and this one surprises almost everyone. The coldest seat on the plane isn't where you might think. Everyone loves a window seat for the view, but here's the truth. Window seats are the coldest spots on the plane. The outside air at cruising altitude can drop below minus 140 degrees Fahrenheit, and that cold seeps right through the fuselage wall. For younger travelers, it may just feel like a slight chill, but for seniors, who often feel temperature swings more sharply, this can mean shivering through the entire flight. If you want the view without freezing, layer up, even in summer, or simply ask the crew for a blanket. Many seniors hesitate to ask, but crew members are used to this request, and you'll often be offered a blanket with a smile. A tiny adjustment, but a huge comfort upgrade. I remember a couple who told me after their long-haul flight to Europe that the only mistake they made was underestimating how cold it would get by the window. They spent 10 hours wrapped in scarves while the aisle passengers slept peacefully. It's such a small change, but it can mean the difference between misery and comfort. But staying warm is only part of the story. What you put in your body matters even more. Tea and coffee feel comforting in the air, but the water used often comes from tanks that are not cleaned as thoroughly as you'd hope. Flight attendants themselves admit they avoid hot drinks. If they won't risk it, why should you? The smart move is to stick to bottled water or juice. Here's an extra trick that most people miss. Pack an empty, reusable bottle, clear security, then fill it up at a fountain before boarding. That way, you stay hydrated without paying airport prices, and you don't have to rely on tiny plastic cups during the flight. For seniors, hydration is one of the easiest ways to fight jet lag, headaches, and stiffness. The dry cabin air dehydrates you faster than you realize, and dehydration can leave you feeling dizzy or sluggish long after you land. I know a gentleman in his 70s who swears the reason he still enjoys long flights is because he sips water constantly. Everyone else stumbles off the plane feeling drained, while he walks out ready to go sightseeing. Now, let's address one of the least pleasant truths about flying. The dirtiest part of the plane isn't the bathroom. It is your tray table and that seat back pocket. Passengers shove used tissues, food wrappers, and even dirty diapers in those pockets. And tray tables? People use them for everything from laptops to diaper changing. That's why you should never eat directly off the surface. Bring a small pack of disinfectant wipes, clear the space, and keep your belongings in your bag instead of that pocket. For seniors with weaker immune systems, this one change can mean avoiding the kind of post-flight cold or stomach bug that ruins a trip. Between quick flights, cleaners don't have time to sanitize thoroughly. They often pick up the obvious trash and move on, meaning what looks clean may not be clean at all. A retired nurse once told me she wipes every surface as soon as she sits down, and she hasn't been sick from a flight in over a decade. It may feel obsessive, but it works. And think about this. When you touch that tray, then handle snacks or even medication, you're transferring all of that unseen bacteria straight into your system. Wiping down your space may feel like a chore, but it's really an investment in protecting your health. There's also a timing secret that can make a world of difference. Book morning flights whenever possible. Why? Because delays stack up like dominoes during the day. The earlier you fly, the less chance you'll get caught in a chain of late departures. Morning air is also calmer, which means less turbulence. If you dislike bumpy rides, this simple choice can change your whole travel experience. And for seniors, mornings often mean less crowded planes and calmer boarding, which makes traveling less stressful from the start. I once watched an older couple breeze through an early morning flight while the afternoon departure for the same route was delayed over 3 hours. Their choice saved them a long wait in uncomfortable seats, something their friends who flew later regretted deeply. And here's something else. Morning flights are less likely to be canceled altogether because the aircraft are already parked at the airport overnight. Later in the day, when planes have to come in from other cities, a single weather problem or mechanical delay elsewhere can throw off the entire schedule. That's why experienced seniors often plan around the earliest departures. Type 1 in the comments if you already try to book morning flights, or 0 if this is new to you. Where you sit can change everything. If turbulence makes you uneasy, avoid the nose and the tail. The smoothest ride is directly over the wings, near the plane's center of gravity. That's where movement is minimized. A retired pilot once told me, "When I fly as a passenger, I always sit over the wing. It's the calmest ride you'll get." For seniors, less movement means less strain on joints, less risk of dizziness, and a far more relaxing journey. And it isn't just about turbulence. Sitting near the wing also keeps you closer to exits and reduces the long walks many seniors dread when seated far at the back. A woman I met on a flight to New York said she had chosen her seat carefully based on this advice, and it made such a difference she now swears by it for every booking. For those with mobility issues, that shorter walk off the plane can be the difference between a smooth trip and unnecessary fatigue. Smooth flying isn't just about the seat, it's also about how you rest. Your travel pillow could be working against you. If you inflate a neck pillow completely, cabin pressure changes mid-flight can make it balloon uncomfortably or even cause it to burst. The trick is simple. Only fill it about 80%, just enough for support without turning it into a rock-hard balloon around your neck. You'll wake up with less stiffness and more energy to enjoy your trip. One man I spoke to said he didn't understand why his pillow kept giving him neck pain until he learned this tip. Now he half inflates and suddenly his red-eye flights are bearable again. For seniors, proper neck support is even more important because muscles don't recover as quickly as they once did. A small adjustment in how you use a pillow can mean arriving refreshed instead of sore. And here's something most passengers never think about: airplane meals. Don't settle for chicken or pasta. Airlines offer special meal requests: vegetarian, low sodium, gluten-free, kosher, even seafood. These meals are usually prepared fresher and are served before the standard meals, meaning you eat earlier, often with tastier options. You don't need a dietary restriction to request one. Just tick the box when you book or check in online. A small tweak that can upgrade your whole dining experience. Seniors often benefit most because these meals are typically lighter, healthier, and less salty. A couple on my flight to Rome ordered vegetarian meals just for variety, and while the rest of us waited, they were served early with fresh pasta and fruit. They ate happily while the rest of the cabin grew restless. And here's another advantage. If you're traveling with medication that needs to be taken at certain times, having your meal served early can keep you on schedule instead of forcing you to wait while everyone else is served first. Clothing choices also matter more than most people think. Skip the shorts. Airplane seats aren't cleaned as often as you'd hope. Hundreds of passengers cycle through them every week. Wearing shorts means your bare skin is in direct contact with all of that. Add in sudden cabin temperature drops, and you've got a recipe for discomfort. Stick to light joggers or travel pants instead. Cleaner, warmer, and much more practical. For seniors, this means less chance of catching a chill or worsening joint pain. I've seen people board in shorts only to wrap themselves in airline blankets for warmth. Why not dress smart from the start? Type 1 if you already dress in layers for flying, or 0 if you usually go for shorts or lighter clothes. And remember this, layers don't just protect against temperature changes, they also give you flexibility. If the airport is hot but the plane is cold, you'll be comfortable in both. It's a simple form of travel insurance against discomfort. Let's talk about a tool that is often forgotten. Never fly without a pen. On international flights, customs and entry cards still need to be filled out. Once the flight attendants hand them out, suddenly 200 people are asking around for a pen. Be the prepared traveler. Tuck one in your carry-on. It saves time, avoids stress, and makes you look like the savvy flyer you are. Seniors who move more slowly through airports especially benefit from being the first to complete forms rather than fumbling for a pen at the last minute. I remember watching a grandmother calmly filling out her form while everyone else was scrambling to borrow. She breezed through customs while others were still searching for a pen. And in many countries, immigration lines separate quickly between those ready to hand in their forms and those who aren't. Being ready not only saves stress, it saves standing time, which can be exhausting for older legs and backs. Now let's add some technology into the mix. Download your Airlines app before you fly. This isn't just for the younger crowd. The app gives you live updates on gate changes, boarding zones, baggage info, and in many cases, it even allows you to rebook instantly if a flight is canceled. That means no waiting in long customer service lines. For seniors who may find long waits physically exhausting, it is an instant stress reliever that keeps you one step ahead. One traveler told me his connecting flight was canceled, but because he had the app, he rebooked from his seat before the plane even landed. While everyone else lined up for help, he walked straight to his new gate. And think of the peace of mind it gives if you're meeting family at your destination. You can text them the live updates directly from the app, keeping everyone in sync without stress. Here's another overlooked risk. Don't trust airport outlets. You'll either find them broken, or worse, too crowded to use. And once your phone dies, so does your boarding pass, directions, or contact info for your ride. Always carry a charged power bank. For seniors, not having a phone charged could mean difficulty contacting family, arranging rides, or showing digital tickets. A small power bank can prevent a travel nightmare. I once sat near a man in his late 60s whose phone battery died right before boarding. He had his boarding pass only in his email, and it turned into a stressful scramble. That panic could have been avoided with a backup charger. And here's another tip. Charge your power bank before every single trip, even if you think you won't need it. It's one of those things you may only rely on once, but when you do, it can save your entire journey. And finally, never book a seat blindly. Most people just accept what's assigned or pick at random, but frequent flyers use tools like Seat Guru or the airline's seat map to check every detail. Which seats have extra legroom? Which ones don't recline? Which ones are right next to the bathroom? Spending 2 minutes on this can completely change your flight comfort. This is how experienced travelers, especially seniors who want less hassle, make their flights smoother. Type 1. If you've ever used a site like Seat Guru, or Zero if this is the first time you are hearing about it. And don't underestimate the benefit of choosing well. An exit row or bulkhead seat can give you extra room to stretch arthritic knees or hips, while avoiding a seat that doesn't recline could mean the difference between resting and suffering through hours of discomfort. Now you know 12 simple but powerful secrets that airlines and airports rarely explain. From staying warm in your seat, to eating fresher meals, to picking the calmest spot on the plane, you now have an entire toolkit for stress-free flying. But here's the kicker. This is just the beginning. Because what if I told you airports are hiding freebies, actual free perks, that can save you hundreds of dollars while you wait for your flight? That's what we'll cover in our next video. So before you click away, type 1 in the comments. If you learned at least one new hack you'll try on your next flight, or type 0 if you think you already knew most of these. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to Travel Made Simple for Seniors, your go-to channel for senior-friendly travel hacks that airlines will never explain. Traveling doesn't have to be stressful. With the right tips, it can be simple, safe, and even enjoyable, no matter your age. Until next time, safe travels.